نبدأ؟ يلا. بودكاست مايك برعاية مركز التحدث بجامعة الملك سعود يقدم
People are different. There are some people who feel incompetent even when they're successful. Poor people, you might say. Well, they're actually like that because they're afflicted with the imposter syndrome. Well, let me tell you what is that expression. The imposter syndrome makes a person feel unworthy and fearful. The affected person goes through what's called a cycle of deception. You may ask, what is the cycle of deception? It is the most important characteristic of the imposter syndrome. It begins when a person takes on a task that requires a skill or an experience. It makes the person feel anxious, and the individual can react either by an exaggerated preparation or by procrastination that turns into a careless preparation. After finishing the task, there's an initial sense of comfort and accomplishment, but these feelings don't persist. Despite receiving positive feedback, the person fails to credit himself or herself for his or her success. Have you ever asked yourself when it was first discovered? Psychiatrist Pauline Clance was the first one to study this phenomenon in 1978, when she noticed the insecurity of many of her students at the university. Although the female students were getting high marks, they didn't feel that they deserved their seats at the university. The following studies showed that Down syndrome or imposter phenomenon can affect both sexes and affect people in different occupations. And it is estimated that 70% of people will suffer this phenomenon at least once in their life. But here's a question you were waiting for. Why do people have this syndrome? Motivating someone to a point where you make them feel like they would disappoint you or they are inferior to you is one of the causes of this syndrome. Albert Einstein said shortly before his death, "The exaggerated esteem in which my life work is held makes me very ill at ease. I feel compelled to think of myself as an involuntary swindler." The level of Einstein's achievements is rare, but it seems that the feeling of fragility is a common occurrence. So, why do we feel we're not enough? This leads us to the question, where do these feelings come from? These feelings usually stem from people with a bad childhood. They were treated by their families as less than others, and they were told that they couldn't succeed. It also occurs in people surrounded by negative individuals. Therefore, no matter how great their achievement is, they don't get the deserved acknowledgement. And when they receive it for the first time, they feel that it's exaggerated because they're not used to it. It also occurs in people who despise themselves or have a low self-esteem. I know that you're now saying, okay, you informed us about this syndrome, but how can we overcome it? Recognizing that you suffer from this syndrome is the first step in the right direction. Talking about the subject with friends can help a lot. Next time, when you receive a compliment or a praise, you should think objectively about the reasons. There are certainly valid reasons for why you were praised or selected among a large group of people. you should always believe that you worked really hard, so you have earned your accomplishment or the position that you're in. We hope that in this episode we have raised awareness about the imposter syndrome, and don't hesitate to ask for help. Thank you for listening, and stay tuned for the upcoming episodes of Micah Podcast.